That actually brings us to the next topic, which is making progress, and the fact that progress is actually non-linear. Your path is not going to be a straight line, okay? And so your progressive overload is not going to be linear either. So unfortunately, it is not going to look like this straight upward line that I have drawn here. And if you recall correctly, I did not actually say that it would be. I said that we would aim to make it as much like this as possible. Okay, but it is not actually going to look like that straight line. In fact, it is going to be more of a roller coaster ride with some ups and downs. So if it doesn't look like this straight line that I drew there so deceptively, which is a very unreasonable expectation, I know you're probably wondering, well, what would that look like visually? Well, let's see. So first, you're going to start out with some newbie gains, so it's going to go straight up, right? Whatever exercises you're doing, it's going to start just by shooting straight up, but then those are going to go stale pretty quickly. So you're going to plateau pretty quickly as that bad form that was giving you those newbie gains stagnates, right? Then you're going to learn some new exercises, so it's going to go up again. It's going to stagnate again pretty quickly. You're going to hit that plateau again, right? But then you're going to start to learn how to train smarter. It's going to go up again, right? But then, at that point, you're going to start to really push yourself. You're going to get injured. So it's going to go way down. And then you're going to have to take some serious time to recover. And in that time, you're going to start taking an online course like this one, right? And then you're going to start to develop some real training intelligence. So it's going to start to go up again, and then you're going to realize, like, hey, as soon as I get above where I was before when I hurt myself, I need to take a deload. So you're going to take a deload, it's going to go back down again, then it's going to go up again for that next block of progressive overload, which you're now doing. And then it's going to go down again, and up again, and down again, and up again. And then at that point, you might think to yourself, you know, I've been training smart for a while, and after this next one, I'm going to take an off season. So it's going to go down again, then up again. So that off season is going to bring you way down, but then you're going to go way up again after that, okay? Because that makes you so much more sensitive to new training. And again, in that time, you're really preparing yourself to go even further and probably developing more of that training intelligence, right? So it's going to keep going like that more and more, okay? It is going to look like a fucking roller coaster. And this is, again, just a general example here. It's going to be different for everyone. But what you can see here is that we do have a general upward line, okay? If you look at the big picture, then you do have an upward trajectory over the course of your life. It's just that when you zoom in on each training a year, that you can see that it is going up and down here and there. All right, so that is what it is actually going to look like. So you're probably wondering, what does this mean for your training and how you try to make progress and set training goals? Well, you cannot just set goals by saying that, hey, you know, on a good month, I have increased my bench press by 10 pounds or 20 pounds or maybe even 50. So if I do that every month, I should be able to break 405 in 2 years or less, maybe even this year. You cannot evaluate how progress is going to go in that way, okay? You can't just take your best month and assume that you're going to be able to replicate that, you know, 10 or 12 times this training year and then, you know, be at competition level by the end of the year. This is actually something that I have seen some young aspiring bodybuilders do. And then what happens is when they aren't having every month be exactly as they want it to go, they start using more and more steroids, and eventually everything just falls apart, you know, and they never make it to the show. So while you can certainly have big goals, and you can get to them, you do not want to be married to them, especially with a certain time frame attached to them. Because things are just not going to be 100% perfect 100% of the time. That is just not how they work, okay? You can get to here if you can deal with having these low points some of the time. And that doesn't mean that you ought to start doing lots of steroids and anabolic compounds and training to failure all of the time, okay? It means that you need to be patient and stick with it and be training smarter, you know, and give yourself the time that you need to continue training intelligently over time and mastering this trait. So you need to realize that not all of your months are going to look like this one here or this one here, okay? There's going to be times when you have more energy and more strength than others, and times when your progress will be more rapid, you know, and times where in a single month you add 40 or 50 pounds to a lift, all right? But other times you will feel tired and weak. especially after you have been training really hard and doing a lot of progressive overload for a while. All right, and there's going to be times when your training is more of a slow moving process, and you're going to be struggling with and experiencing a lot of fatigue with, and possibly frustration, and it's going to require a lot of patience and just a lot of practice. So you cannot just plan on your progress being a fast, steady, linear, upward path like that. The journey of an athlete is a winding road like that. And the reason for that is that adaptations occur in waves. So it takes a lot of time to make them, because after you've made one wave and that wave has peaked, there's going to be a valley before the next wave, and you can continue being on the up and up. So with every peak that you hit on every wave, there's going to be a subsequent valley before you will continue with that upward trajectory. And so similarly, because your adaptations occur in these waves, your body composition changes also won't be 100% consistent. That is why successful bodybuilders most often do bulking and then cutting cycles. So their body composition changes occur in the same type of way. And when you're bulking, you might see a lot of hypertrophy and strength adaptations, and when you're cutting, you're not going to. Okay, and so no matter how fast you make some gains, sometimes you can't expect that to happen that often, and also sometimes you may even slide backwards at times and have these really low valleys like that, especially after you have undergone a period of rapid gains. If you've been pushing yourself forward really hard for a little while, you may even feel as though you are backsliding at times, or be actually backsliding at certain times, and that is perfectly normal and okay, just as long as it is not due to a major injury from overtraining and trying to push yourself too hard too fast. All right, because that could be a major setback, which can completely mess up your training year or your training lifetime. So that's why you do not want to be overtraining. But there will be times in which you may take an off season, or for whatever reason experience a larger valley, and it might feel as though you are going backwards rather than forwards for a short period of time, and that is nothing to worry or stress about. All right, it is all part of your journey. What will happen is, with every cycle of progressive overload, your progress will be a pretty easy, simple matter of adding weight or reps or sets for a little while. But like I said before, you're not going to be able to add these indefinitely. The more advanced you get, the harder it will be to continue to make progress, and the slower your rate of progress will become. So you will have to be more and more patient with your body as your journey progresses more and more. And that's why I've taught you to find more intelligent and creative ways to make training advancements and to work on technique, form, range of motion, intensity tactics, increasing time under tension, manipulating training variables for muscle confusion and training complexity, doing different frequencies and splits, all of that stuff. And there's actually going to be even more advanced strategies and methodology that I'm going to be teaching you much later in this program for when you are getting really advanced, such as individualized programming methods and what is called periodization, which is some extremely academic stuff that is mainly used by professional athletes. And so what will happen is, when you start to use very personalized and individualized programming methods and periodization, your progressive overload will be able to go even further than you ever might have thought before when you hit certain valleys and you think that you might have reached your genetic potential. There are always different physical adaptations that can be made by using systematic training techniques and tactics in order to train you in more and more intelligent and advanced academic ways. And that is where you're really going to see the true full potential of the convergence of the art and the science of physical fitness when they come together. Okay, that is when you're going to be able to experience maximum results and achieve your fullest genetic potential as an athlete and attain that coveted peak performance that you are aspiring to.